doesn't love macaroni and cheese? This dreamy dish is popular everywhere. Growing up, my mom would only make us that box mac and cheese when she didn't have time to cook, so it was a real treat for us. Now, I know the pre-made stuff cooks up quickly, but my stovetop mac and cheese is easy to make and even easier to eat. That's why this dish is my all-star comfort food. Now, when it comes to mac and cheese, you can really use any kind of cheese you want. What you do want to think about is that creamy meltability. So I love the cheddar for that. It's a great melting cheese. It really incorporates well into that sauce and gets really nice and creamy. I'm using a box grater to grate this, and I'm just going along those big sides to do it. Check that out. Mountain of cheese. I love it. And now we're gonna do Parmesan. So Parmesan is obviously not a melting cheese. Parmesan is a hard cheese. It adds incredible flavor. You probably use it on top of your spaghetti. So basically you're thinking you want texture and then you want flavor. And this way you can get both. All right, now we have all our cheeses ready for our mac and cheese. So I've got some pasta water already boiling here, and then we're gonna add some flavor with salt. This is just kosher salt, and I like it salty like the sea. Just be super generous here. This is adding flavor to your pasta. If you cook pasta in boiling just plain water, it's gonna taste like nothing. So you wanna add that salt. So now we're gonna add our pasta. I'm using a small pasta shape for this. So these are the little shells, which reminds me of the kind my mom used to make me when I was a kid. Any kind of small pasta shape would work really well here. That looks good. So now we're gonna start our sauce. I've got a big pot on my stove top. I have it up to medium-high heat. You really want a nice big pot, because remember, we're making a sauce, we're adding all that cheese, and then we also need room for the pasta. So we're gonna start off with some butter. For this, I've got 4 tablespoons of butter. That's about half a stick, and that can just go right in. So just let it go. You want that butter to melt completely. I kind of like to let it dance around in there. And then we're gonna start making our roux. So the roux is essentially the base of the sauce. For this, I'm using 1/3 of a cup of all-purpose flour. And I'm gonna use a whisk to get that flour completely incorporated into the butter. It smells really delicious right now. That butter is starting to toast up a little bit. The flour is getting nice and incorporated. This looks really good. And you just want to let this go for like a minute or two. Basically, you want to cook off the flavor of the flour, and you want it to become a nice sort of like thick paste. All right, so we want to check on our pasta to make sure it's ready. Let's see. Hey, little fella. That was perfect. Not too cooked. We're gonna drain this now. So you always wanna make sure you drain your pasta really well. If you don't, that extra water is going to make your sauce way too thin. We really want it to be rich, creamy. It's mac and cheese after all. All right, so now we can finish off our sauce. So we've got that flour that we cooked down, and we're gonna add the milk. For this, I've got 4 cups of whole milk, and then we're just gonna pour in, and you wanna do this slowly. So what I do is I whisk with one hand while I gently pour with the other, and just incorporate it little bit by little bit. And you might notice that it'll kind of lump up a little bit. That's totally fine. Once you keep going, it'll thin out. I'm gonna incorporate it like this. And then just keep going, adding a little bit more at a time. All right, so the perfect way to find out that this is at the perfect texture is to do the spoon test. Or in this case, the spatula test. What you do is you dip your spoon or spatula, anything you want, into the sauce, and you use your fingertip to brush it down the center. If it holds that line, see how it has that nice crisp line? That's how you know your sauce is creamy and ready. All right, so now that our sauce is ready, we're gonna add some flavor. This is a Spanish smoked paprika, and what makes it so wonderful is that smokiness. Now we're gonna add some dry mustard powder. So I know this is a little bit of an unusual ingredient. I love dried mustard powder because it adds a little bit of tang and sharpness to our cheesy sauce. And now my favorite part, a little bit of heat. I love adding a kick with ground cayenne. For this, I'm gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon. And this is one of those things where it's up to you. If you like spice, go ahead and double it. All right, so now we're adding that cheese. All right, and then you just want to whisk until all that cheese is melted and smooth and completely incorporated into your sauce. All right, so our sauce is perfect, and now we can add our pasta. So you can just keep this at that nice low temperature the entire time when you add your pasta. That way, you're not gonna overcook it. Everything is gonna stay nice and smooth and rich and gentle. And now what you wanna do is you just wanna incorporate it in there, just fold it in, keep stirring. Oh, this looks so good. All right, so now that our mac and cheese is almost ready, time for one of the most important steps in any recipe you make: taste before you serve. This is the point where you can find out, is it too salty? Is it too spicy? Do I want more of any ingredient? So let's give it a try. So good. I do want a little bit more salt. A little bit more salt. Maybe a lot more salt. And a little bit of black pepper. All right, so this is perfect. It's ready to serve. I'm sure you have hungry mouths ready to dive in, and this really is best straight off the stove. This is the ultimate comfort food dish for me. It's warm, it's cozy, it's got incredible flavor, so satisfying. It's a hug in a bowl. This is my perfect comfort food.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.